So welcome everybody. My name is Mike Jacka with Real Estate Promo, and I'm really excited to be coming down to Arkansas and sharing with you guys one of my favorite topics, and that's going to be estimating repairs and negotiating and constructing multiple offers. So now Thursday night, I'm going to be covering the repair estimate process so we can quickly get to our MAO, the maximum allowable offer, which we went through and talked about for our Thursday night training. We're going to go through that on Thursday. Now on Saturday in our workshop, we're going to take it to the next level. One of the things we're going to work on is a lot of people struggle with how do you calculate or how do you find the after repaired value on a property, especially if you don't have access to the MLS. So we're going to spend some time Saturday morning going through some tools and some techniques that are available on the internet, and I'm going to show you how to weed through some of that to find some real comps and how to evaluate the comps to make sure that they're good comparable properties. So that, and that's an important number because that's our MAO formula starts out with the after repaired value. Once we got that, then we can go through all that. We're going to go through the formula. We're going to go through a little bit on Thursday night, but we're going to spend a little more time on this on Saturday so that you really understand this whole process. Okay, then I want to take it to the nth degree and really blow up your business, because one of the things I learned over the years is people could figure out how to get to this number, the MAO, the maximum allowable offer. And that's where I see a lot of investors stop because, okay, well, $100,000. Well, the value of the property is truly $200,000, and they're going to make an offer of $100,000. Well, that's all good and fine when it comes to bank REOs. That's the only number that makes sense, and that's the only number they want to see is the $100,000 because it's a cash transaction. You're either using your own cash, you're borrowing money from a hard money lender or a private lender, or maybe even getting some bank financing. This is the formula that they all are going to follow. And if you violate this formula, you're not going to be able to get the financing, so therefore you can't buy the property if we're just going off of this. But what about just the regular homeowners, the sellers, non-MLS properties, motivated, distressed sellers who need options? Maybe they owe more than $100,000 on this property and they can't afford to sell it for $100,000 because then they have to write a check for another $20,000, for example. All right, well, one of the things that I've learned too is if I just make only a lowball cash offer to a motivated seller who maybe does have a loan for $120,000, they can't accept it or they won't accept it because it's such a low number, and we haven't done a good enough job explaining to them why our number is here. I mean, if you run through and do all this, it makes sense to us financially, the numbers are logical, everything makes sense, but when the seller thinks that the property is worth $200,000, in their mind, it doesn't need $40,000 worth of work. It needs paint and carpeting. What's that? $5,000, $10,000? So they're thinking that they've got $180,000 worth of equity in the property, less a mortgage. Well, and then let's say their mortgage is $120,000. Well, we're coming in with a lowball offer, and it just doesn't make sense, and it's usually insulting to the sellers if we can't paint the picture for them. So what I've learned to do over the years is I'll create multiple different offers. So I might come up with another offer for this example here. I might say $125,000. Okay, now this $125,000 offer, so I'm going to make them the all cash $100,000, and I'll say, but I'll come up with a couple different options so I can get a higher price for you. Okay, well this is going to come with terms. The only terms with this 100 is cash. All right, that's the term, cash. This one here is going to come with terms that are going to be favorable to us. So maybe a smaller down payment, like say $5,000 down, and then a 5-year balloon payment on a contract for deed or a land contract. That might be one of the examples that we would use. Okay, that is a higher price. So now we're at least covering what the sellers need in this scenario. But then I take it one step further and I give them an even higher number. And let's just say, I'll just throw one out, $150,000. Okay, now if you look at these numbers, 150 plus 40, and you look at an after repaired value of 200, well, that doesn't really make sense, especially if you understand the numbers and you follow the logic. That would be a negative equity position by the time you figure in acquisition costs and all the other costs associated with buying a property. Well, when we're talking terms, this number is not as important to me because I'm more concerned about the terms. So I want it over a longer haul, and if I can negotiate the right terms with the seller, I might be able to get very low interest or no interest at all, and I might have 10 years to pay this off. In reality, under terms like that, that 150 is, I'll make more money on that than I will by paying $100,000 cash if you learn how to structure the terms correctly. And the only way you're going to be able to do that is negotiate with the seller and figure out exactly what they need and what they're looking for. So on Saturday, we're going to go through and we're going to spend most of the day on how I go through that whole process. And I'm going to share with you some of the tools and the seller net sheets and stuff like that that I use to help negotiate those numbers, how to figure out what those numbers truly are that are going to be beneficial to the seller. And then the thing that I learned over the years is if I just make only the $100,000 all cash offer, if that's the only offer I'm making, I've learned that I've maybe got about a 10% chance that the seller is going to accept that. So then over the years, I learned how to create multiple different offers. And let's say I got a $100,000 all cash, maybe a $125,000 with a down payment and a 5-year balloon, and then maybe a full price or a much higher price offer, which is closer to what they're looking for, but maybe no down payment and maybe a 10-year payoff. And these numbers, I like this if I want them all to accept this. But here's what I've learned over the years. When I give them multiple options, now, rather than just, hey, they only made me a lowball offer and they're insulted, it's like, well, yes, they made me a lowball offer, but they made me multiple different options to help me get to where I want, which is the price. And what I found over the years is by doing this, I have a higher likelihood that they'll come back and accept the low cash offer. So about 50% of the time, they'll accept this $100,000 cash offer when I add multiple different offers on top of it. So I've increased my odds of them accepting this. And then sometimes they accept these offers. And these offers here, when I get done with you on Saturday, you'll understand why. These are the home run offers. Even though they're a higher price, there's no cash or very little cash out of your pocket. They're structured in a way that's favorable for us. So over the long haul, these properties here at the 150 make us a lot more money than these properties at the 100. And that's what we're going to cover on Saturday, February 13th, is how to construct these offers, why they make sense, and why it really doesn't matter which one the seller accepts. The key is we just need to be able to create offers that are acceptable to us and to the seller, and use this whole process as a negotiating tool or a negotiating process to construct multiple offers to get to increase our odds or increase the number of offers that the sellers are going to accept to really help accelerate our business and take it to the next level. So with that, I'm excited and looking forward to spending the day with you guys on Saturday. And if you can, make it to the Thursday night, the Thursday night workshop as well, we're going to cover the estimating repairs. So we'll see you guys in February.